ongoing original research at cutting edge and translating that science into proprietary AI products for the open market. This dual positioning gives Birla AI Labs a rare advantage: real world data, domain know how, and enterprise scale deployment through the group, paired with the freedom to build category defining products for global markets. Let me share what this looks like in practice. As a part of our first mandate, driven by my father, we are executing AI deployment across the Aditya Birla Group. The group has been operational for the last 160 plus years, and we have decades of operational data across manufacturing, financial services, commodities, consumer businesses, and a growing bench of talent that understands both the science and the business, giving us an undeniable moat. With a $120 billion market cap, operating across 42 countries with over 250,000 employees, we are witnessing tangible early gains across our diverse portfolio as advanced analytics and AI reshape everything from supply chains to workforce management. Let me start with Birla Estates. We will be using AI to compress project concept timelines by 90%, freeing over 2,000 man days a year. The immediate impact is efficiency. Architects and developers are no longer constrained by the time it takes to test an idea. Contract intelligence tools will now give our teams a unified, accurate view of every agreement, flagging potential claims before they escalate. Moving into financial services, and the transformation takes a completely different shape. Aditya Birla Capital has built one of the most ambitious Gen AI programs in India's financial sector, not by picking a single use case, but by going after the entire value chain at once. Underwriting turnaround time is down 50%. Credit assessment preparation has been cut by 90%. A fully AI enabled sales program is already targeting more than $100 million in gross sales, while the customer service platform is pushing first call resolution beyond 90%. What makes this remarkable is not any individual number, it is the concurrence. Then there is Hindalco. And here the story shifts register entirely. This is about applying intelligence in one of the most physically demanding, energy intensive industries in the world. On the shop floor, our proprietary factory intelligence integrates 24 operational KPIs in real time, turning what were once static spreadsheets into a living intelligence layer that surfaces anomalies before they escalate. And what we are building is more ambitious still: a digital twin for our smelters and furnaces, and an AI layer on top that will orchestrate the entire coal source to power ecosystem. But if there is one place in our portfolio where AI feels most consequential, most human, it is Swatantra, our microfinance business. Here we are embedding AI across sales, audit, and quality control, and we expect it to unlock at least 30% in productivity gains. It means a loan officer can reach more people. It means a woman in a village gets access to capital that she would not have had access to otherwise. That kind of efficiency does not just improve margins, it has the potential to improve lives. The consumer businesses brings this completely full circle. I have come to believe through my experience that to build great brands today, product must be backed by content driven distribution. Our fashion, retail, and jewelry businesses are deploying AI for hyper personalized marketing and real time inventory intelligence. Within Birla Cosmetics, our brand Love Etc. and Contraband are using AI creativity tools to move from campaign ideation to final asset delivery at a fraction of the traditional cost. What this tells me is that the question is no longer whether AI can work in complex, capital intensive, real world industries. We have seen it and we know it can. The real question is how fast and how deep should we go, given the ambiguity that surrounds artificial intelligence? Now, on to our second mandate. And this is where Birla AI Labs operates as a frontier research lab. The conviction here is simple. India's next great institution will emerge at the intersection of deep research, applied engineering, and market creation. That is our North Star. To do this, we have assembled a global team of researchers and engineers from Oxford and IIT Madras to BITS Pilani, ISRO, Google, and Goldman Sachs. Our first major research vertical is in structured foundational models, a field that a recent Forbes article estimates at a $600 billion market opportunity. Often overlooked, a vast majority of the world's data sits in time series and tabular formats. Stock prices, sensor readings, supply chain signals, weather patterns, energy consumptions, patient vitals. This data could actually power predictive intelligence in industry, in finance, in infrastructure, in healthcare. In December, our team was in Europe in San Diego, where our paper, Time to Time, was accepted. It asks a very provocative question. Do these time series foundation models actually understand what a market crash is, or are they just fitting curves? Our researchers showed that you can reach inside a model's hidden states, inject the signature of a historical crash, and watch the forecast shift accordingly. This is not curve fitting. This is a model that has learned something about the structure of the world. Our researchers are working at that frontier. This thesis for Birla AI Labs has been presented at the Oxford AI Summit and the World Summit AI in the Netherlands in 2025. This lab is building, I would say, a credible global research presence, presenting at top venues, partnering with leading institutions, and attracting talent that could work anywhere in the world, but has chosen to build for India. Our second research vertical is one that I believe the industry has a moral obligation to pursue. AI now mediates the everyday decisions, relationships, and information environments of over 1.7 billion people worldwide. Yet the study of what this does to human cognition, agency, and daily life remains nascent. We at Birla AI Labs want to do something about this. We conducted a study with Delhi University students to measure how language model usage affects curiosity and cognitive agency among students. The results of this study will be presented at King's College this June. This is the kind of research that industry too often leaves to others. But I believe that those of us who are building AI have a responsibility to understand its human consequences, not as an afterthought, but as a core part of the enterprise. Alongside the research, we are also building tools. In December 2024, we launched a beta version of an AI native research and productivity platform at IIT Bombay, combining agentic search, real time data processing, and multimodal intelligence to deliver contextual insights across the internet, documents, and financial data. That platform is now being used across my own office to drive day to day efficiency. It is a tangible example of what happens when frontier research meets applied deployment. And that is exactly the loop that we at Birla AI Labs are designed to close. This approach, building at the frontier while staying rooted in real world application, is not new to us. The Aditya Birla Group's history has been very intertwined with the story of our nation. My forefathers have built through every chapter of India's journey, through independence, through liberalization, through globalization. Ours is a history of reading the moment, adapting with conviction, and building institutions that outlast the disruptions that gave birth to them in the first place. This century of building has given us something very invaluable, a muscle memory for navigating tectonic shifts. The generations before me, my brother and my sister, have learned to read the early tremors, to invest before consensus forms, and to build for decades rather than just quarters. Every generation of our group has faced a moment where the old playbook had to be rewritten. What is different today is the elements of high ambiguity and uncertainty, which, if we look at closely, can give rise to can give rise to immense opportunity. And that is precisely what makes this moment so thrilling and so consequential. But here is what I have come to believe very, very strongly. No single institution, no matter how large or how well resourced, can navigate this epoch alone. The journey from 4 trillion to $40 trillion dollars will not be powered by industry acting in isolation. It will require something way more fundamental. It will require us to build an ecosystem that brings academia, industry, and policy into genuine, sustained collaboration. As India writes its AI chapter, we intend to be on the front lines, not as observers, not as fast followers, but as honest and true responsible builders of technology, of institutions, and of the ecosystem this country needs to lead. And we will do so with utmost responsibility. The playbook for what comes next has not yet been written. And at the Aditya Birla Group and at Birla AI Labs, we look forward to writing it together. Thank you all so very much. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ananya Birla. The conviction in your words was truly inspiring. And of course, it demonstrated the bold vision as well. Congratulations for the launch of Birla AI Labs 2. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to welcome our next speaker, Mr. Takahito Tokita, President and Chief Executive Officer of Fujitsu. This company has been at the frontier of computing for decades. And under Takahito Tokita's leadership, the company is making a bold pivot towards AI driven digital transformation. From quantum computing to enterprises, AI solutions, Fujitsu represents Japan's commitment to remaining a global technology leader. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Takahito Tokita, the President and CEO of Fujitsu.
Hello, hello everyone. I'm Takahito Dokita, CEO of Fujitsu. It's very honor to share our vision for AI to you, all of you, and today. Thank you very much. For 40 years, Fujitsu has pioneered AI from research and development to practical application. I will provide an overview of our technology and social commitment. Following my remarks, our CTO Vivek Mahajan detailed on our AI strategy and powerful technologies that underpin it. At Fujitsu, our purpose is to make the world more sustainable by building trust in society through innovation. This single purpose guides us, our management, inspires our people, and shapes our every product and the technologies and the services we create. Our story began in 1935. We started by making communication equipment, and this expertise led to Japan's first computer in 1950s. Since then, we have powered economic growth with our critical technology and services. This long journey of innovation led to K Computer and Fugaku, two of world-class supercomputers. This journey continues as we now develop highly power efficient CPUs and pioneer the field of quantum computing. We are on track to develop 1,000 qubit machine by the end of March 2027. Through, thank you. Throughout our history, one thing has remained constant: our focus on people. This human-centric philosophy has guided us as we adapt to the changing needs for society. To create a sustainable future, we focus our research and development on the 5 key technology areas: computing, networking, AI, data and security, and converging technology that brings all them together. Based on this strong technology foundation, we are working closely with our partners and customers across all industries to co-create solutions and address societal issues and challenges. As a key driver, AI is a key driver these challenges. To fully integrate AI into our society and businesses, a powerful and trusted AI infrastructure is essential. Yes, therefore, we have been working closely with the also and the Japanese government on the research and development and the supercomputer and the quantum computing. So AI and is needed the powerful computing power. Our vision for an AI-driven society is precise. AI must not be a force that replaces people or becomes a threat to human autonomy. Its foundation, its fundamental role must be to augment the human capability that are uniquely human: our creativity, our critical thinking, and our complex judgment. We are deeply committed to working with leaders across all industries, pioneering researchers in academia, and government bodies worldwide. With these strong partnerships, we can collaborate, collectively establish the standards, ethics, and governance needed to ensure that AI constantly serves the best interests of humanity. We believe Japan will be an ideal host for this AI summit. We would be delighted to welcome you all to our country to discuss the future society we can create with AI together. Now, I'd like to introduce our CTO, Vivek Mahajan. Thank you.
And can I go back to the presentation, please? Okay. So as Tokita-san mentioned about the key technologies, Fujitsu, I think for all of you that probably are not very familiar. As you mentioned, we have a long history on this. And the key areas that we are focused on are pretty much to enable AI. And for AI, you need three things. You need the compute, you need the networks, and you need the AI software, right? And our goal is we are heavily focused, as Tokita mentioned, on the sustainable society, and we are focused on giving an option for sovereign AI. This is completely made in Japan technology, and we find ourselves at a very interesting point in history where Fujitsu is an option for companies that are looking for technologies that is often non-American. And I'll give you a brief glimpse into what we do. So next month, we'll be rolling out world's first 2 nanometer based ARM processor CPUs on servers, and those will be the first ones. This is a highly power efficient processor that is focused on data centers and confidential computing. In October last year, Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, Tokita-san, and myself, we announced 20 exascale supercomputer that will be rolled out in 2029 that will be based again on the world's first 1.4 nanometer CPU. And that is very important because you are looking at highly power efficient machines that are driving very strong calculations. Now, this is focused on defense, government, healthcare, finance, manufacturing, something I think that would be very beneficial to a country like India. The other part of computing is quantum. For all of you, you might not be aware, but at this point in time, the world's #1 quantum roadmap is driven by us. It is a 250 logical qubit machine with 10,000 qubits that would be rolled out in 2030. And next month, if you come to Japan, Kawasaki, we have a huge tower that will hold the world's first 1,000 qubit machine. This is very important for AI. As you go quantum and HPC together, fused together with a software stack, that's what will drive the compute for next generation AI and applications. And Fujitsu gives you an option to do that. The other part is networks. And there are two parts, photonics and wireless. Now, you've seen what's happened with memory. The prices have gone up 6 times in the last 1 year. And same with photonics. What we offer is highly power efficient, as was mentioned in Tokita-san's address, environmental friendly, low latency, long range transmission. It's a 1.6 terabyte switch that goes up to 1,000 kilometers. And we'll be coming out with a 3.2 terabyte switch. This is what you need to power data centers, connect data centers. So you have the compute, and then you need to connect those. And this is, again, powered by the software stack. By the way, a lot of this work in R&D for the network software stack and the quantum and Monaca is done in Bangalore. So I'll again, summarize with 2 key parts, right? So we are focused on being the sovereign AI platform. Yesterday, PM Modi mentioned, right? And Minister Vaishnav said, it's not only about large language models. You are not going to need a large language model if you're in defense. You need something that drives at the edge. Same with healthcare. You're not going to put those records to be accessed by everybody. And that's what we are aiming for. We are talking about privacy, flexibility, domain-specific security. That's the triangle we bring together, powered by security and the areas. This we believe is going to be very relevant for everybody in the world. And that's a stake that we took at Fujitsu to focus on Japan, but I think now we roll this out outside. And we're partnering with different vendors here. Both NVIDIA and AMD are very close partners with us. We use their GPU. We use our CPU. I mentioned Monaca. It's a 256 core Monaca X, and there's a 128 core with the NP on it. We partner with Oracle. We partner with Lockheed Martin on defense. Supermicro for servers, Arcus for networks, Yaskawa, Fanuc on robotics. We are taking this, where we see this is going to physical AI at the edge, drive compute and AI and networks. That's where it conflicts together, combines together. And that's how end users will use AI in robots. In 3 years, 4 years now, you will have androids, you will have humanoids, and drones, your iPhones. This will be completely changed by the power of compute and networks and the software that combines together. I think that confluence is going to happen very soon, uh, and uh, and this is sovereign and security is going to be extremely important. And I believe there's a great opportunity for us all to work together in this space. Thank you.
We extend our sincere thanks to Mr. Takahito Tokita, the Chief Executive Officer, and Mr. Vivek Mahajan, the Chief Technology Officer of Fujitsu. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now left with two final events of the summit, and they are like showstoppers to the whole summit. We have one keynote speaker who is the Deputy Chief of the Army Staff of India. And before that, we are going to have the final panel of the day, which is bringing together some of India's most influential technology leaders. You can say it is a high powered panel, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce the panelists to you. We have Mr. Salil Parekh, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Infosys. And he has led the company through a remarkable period of reinvention, placing AI at the center of the strategy for clients across the globe. We also have as our panelist Mr. K. Krithivasan, Chief Executive Officer of Tata Consultancy Services. Mr. C. Vijay Kumar, who is the CEO and Managing Director of HCL Technologies. We also have Ms. Arundhati Bhattacharya, Chairperson and Chief Executive Officer of Salesforce India. And we have the panel which is being moderated by none other than Mr. Amitabh Kant, the former Chief Executive Officer of Niti Aayog, one of the architects of India's modern industrial and digital policy. I request all our panelists to kindly take their place on the stage. With a big round of applause, kindly welcome the panelists of the last panel of AI Impact Summit 2026. Mr. Salil Parekh, Mr. K. Krithivasan, Mr. C. Vijay Kumar, and Ms. Arundhati Bhattacharya, with the moderator, Mr. Amitabh Kant. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome them all to the stage. Well, it's over to you, Mr. Amitabh Kant.
So let me welcome these very distinguished leaders of the Indian IT tech service industry. And we have with us Arundhati Bhattacharya, who's both a banker and a great tech leader now. The three of them, amongst them, they are leaders of an industry that represents over 300 billion in market value, over 25 lakh crore. And they employ millions of Indians. We are actually meeting at a point of disruption. I'm not going to take much time in introducing the panel, or I'm not going to take much time in giving my own introduction. I will straight away move to asking them questions and then open it up to all of you so that you can ask the question. I'll try and start with the lady in the panel, and I'll also try and end with the lady in the panel, Arundhati Bhattacharya, who's probably the most distinguished of us all. So Arundhati, let me try and be as direct as possible. So Salesforce has lost roughly about 40% of its market value in just 12 months. A single AI product launch wiped almost 285 billion of SaaS stocks in a day. The market is saying that AI agents will replace per seat software subscriptions. Is the market wrong, or is the traditional SaaS model genuinely under threat? And what does that mean for thousands of Indian enterprises that have built their operations on Salesforce platform?
First and foremost, thank you very much for asking that question. I've been answering that question so many times in the last few days that it's almost like rehearsed, as to how I should go about it. But having said that, markets will say a lot of things. Not all of it comes true. And when you talk about the SaaS model, it's not only about vibe coding, it's not only about creating an application, it's also about, understanding what the workflows are like. It's about realizing what the customer's pain points are and ensuring that you are addressing those particular pain points. It's about observability about what your agents are doing. It's about governance. It's about auditability. It's about adoption. There are so many pieces to making something really work in an organization that to just say that because I can vibe code, that means, everything else goes out of the window. I think that's being a little too, little too hasty about totally, rejecting a way of doing business. Also, I must say that, which I'm not very true is correct, but people have to sometimes pump up values given the kind of money that is going in over there. And by the way, some of that money is circular money that's going in over there. So I'm not too sure that the market is actually giving the right message that it should. And like for everything that the market gives, people, investors especially, are requested to read the fine print and obviously, exercise their discretion in the matter. Having said that, is it true that the models that we have today will remain exactly the same? They won't. I'm very clear about one thing, which is that all of the models that we have today, and I mean not the LLM models, but I mean the models of working, the ways of working, whether it be in respect of the SaaS companies or it be in respect of any of the other companies, even infra companies or any of the other companies, things will change. And we have to be very agile about the way we look at these things and realize where are the changes going to come and how can we ourselves uh, change in tune so as to remain relevant, so as to remain not only to so as to be able to actually add value to your customer. End of the day, people who add value are the ones who are going to stay, who are going to survive, who are going to be sustainable. And therefore adding value is what we need to do. And for adding value, whatever it takes for us to do, we need to do those things. So I think, the jury is out and will remain out for a while because the race is on and we don't know who's going to win the race. But this much I do know that, it'll not be one individual unit or one individual kind of unit. There will be very many players in this whole thing. But at the end of it all, as long as it improves our standards of living, as long as it gives us results and answers which we never had before, it is for the good of humanity. And I hope that will definitely happen.
Thank you. Thank you for that very detailed answer to that question. I now turn to Mr. Christy Vasan, the CEO of TCS. Mr. Christy Vasan, the industry consensus is that AI will shift work from writing code to orchestrating AI systems. What does TCS look like to you in 2030? What will be the head count and what will be the revenue per employee? And uh, how is TCS communicating that transition to its workforce and to the country?
Thank you and good afternoon to everyone. See, this is the topic that everyone has been discussing in the last few days and few weeks. And like Arundhati explained, like the market has also has been contemplating. But there will be few things that will change, many things will may not change, or the other way. Like if you look at the role of what most of us do as a system integrator. The role of system integrators come into play because there are complex systems and many of them have a lot of legacy and it's not that one day you can have a LLM understand everything and auto generate code and the software engineers will go away. But not to say, like Arundhati said, there will be more and more productivity that will be brought in. And at the same time, you need system integrators who can test, validate, verify what is being generated. And so that's one part of it. The second is, as you also look at today, the role will shift towards more and more requirements engineering, context engineering. How do you know whether you are building the right system? How do you validate whether the system is doing the right thing? Does it have cyber security? Does it do some harm? All those things are to be validated. You may not know all the roles that you will have 5 years down the line, but we don't envisage a situation where there will be a significant shrinkage of work. The other areas that we have somehow not looked at when we get excited about generating code is for many of the, for instance, cloud came into play about maybe 10 years ago. But if you ask most organizations, they will tell you that 30-40% cloud has been adopted. There's so much to be done. So this is going to be a long tail. And even within that, you would see many organizations, they have to prepare for deploying or adopting AI. It's not a trivial job. They have to get their data estate right. They have to get their applications rationalized, modernized. So there is a certain amount of work to be done. They need to train their models, like Arundhati was saying, or somebody was mentioning, like you will have some large models, many small models in every enterprise. They have to be trained. And the last part of it, which you are not again looking at, is what is that new that you can do with all these LLMs? There'll be many interesting things. Somebody has to build, somebody has to think through that. So if you look at another 30, I don't envisage a time that there's a significant shrinkage of work, but there'll be more volume of work that will be produced,
More volume of work.
more volume of work that will be produced, and more interesting work that will be done.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's an interesting perspective. I turn to Salil, who's the CEO of Infosys. Salil, one of the very provocative statements made by one of the Bay Area leaders and investor actually was that, which attracted a lot of news coverage, was that services model is dead within 5 years. Your chairman, Nandan Nilekani, just I was reading, in fact, I went through his interaction, and he said that this is not an opportunity gap, but this is an execution gap, and that the real money is in cleaning up trillions of dollars of legacy tech debt. Who is right? Is Nandan right, or is it this Bay Area leader? Who's right, according to you?
Well, that's an easy answer. Nandan's, of course, right. There's no question.
So, simply because he's your chairman.
Because I mean, with, I'm sure everyone has a view. Nandan is a visionary who has a view on this business for years. I think the way we see it is, and we shared this a few days ago, there are several areas of opportunity that come from AI services. And there are six that we have highlighted recently, just a few days ago. And those in aggregate, we have shared some data, are about $300 billion of opportunity over the next several years. And then we've gone into a little bit of the detail in each. So I'll give just a couple of examples. There's one which is like AI engineering, which is the building of agents, orchestrating, integrating some of the points what Kriti was mentioning. There's another which you alluded to, how Nandan has said it, of legacy modernization, which is basically saying there were some things which were 15, 20 years old with large companies. How can we bring it to the more current? And there, because of AI agents, the cost is lower, the time is less, and so there's an easier economic rationale for companies to do it. So as we put all these together, we see these what we call AI services, which will give us the growth. And what I think the point you made, what Nandan said, if we can pivot our company to serve these big six areas for our clients, that execution part, then the opportunity is good. And again, some data on that, like this year, which will end in March, we have recruited 20,000 college graduates. Next year, we are on track, and we've announced we are recruiting 20,000 college graduates. This year, our headcount has increased in the first 3 quarters by 13,000 people, and my sense is that will continue. So, what it's opening up really is new set of opportunities, and there is some productivity benefit that comes with if like specifically in Infosys, but I'm sure in general, if we execute and serve our clients, there will be more opportunity there.
So, tell me, do you at any stage aspire to own intellectual property in the AI stack, or will you remain a builder for hire?
So there, the approach, I'll speak a little bit for Infosys. Our approach is we have tremendous IP. So like in AI, we built this IP layer called Topaz Fabric, which has the ability for our clients to work with any of the foundation models, plus the agents that we have built, that Infosys has built, plus any third-party agents. So that's the layer that we are, let's say, pretty good at, and that we will build and continue to build the IP on. That's the approach on the IP that we've taken.
Okay. CVK, let me turn to you because HCL Tech has a software product business. It has a design custom AI chips in Bangalore, and you operate across the full stack, actually. Uh, is HCL Tech positioning as an AI builder at any stage? And if so, how far up the stack are you willing to go into models, into compute, into infrastructure that at any stage will compete with the hyperscalers rather than just partner with them?
Uh, Thank you and good evening, everyone. And HCL Tech, I mean, as you kind of gave some pointers, we are uniquely placed uh, because, first of all, we have a software product business which delivers 10% of our revenue. And we also have a very deep engineering heritage where we service uh, top 50 of the 100 R&D spenders, doing a lot of work, including some cutting edge work, like we have built a 2 nanometer custom silicon for one of the technology companies. So we have these unique capabilities, and this also reflected in our highest revenue per employee amongst the IT services companies. So with this backdrop, we are our AI strategy is one of them is heavily indexed on building because of course, I mean, our core is services. We will continue to modernize and evolve our services to be relevant for the future. And even if it means it takes away some revenue streams, we are proactively doing it. But I think the biggest focus is there are these large language models and the foundational models. They cannot be applied most efficiently for enterprise use cases. There is still a gap between what a foundation model can deliver and what is the ultimate efficiency and innovation that's possible. So we are really trying to bridge the gap and building IPs that will bridge the gap, which helps enterprises to scale uh, AI adoption. And we're also focused on a lot of specialized services, like even Salil mentioned, like physical AI, AI factory, uh, agentic AI, all of this new solutions we are very focused on. And of course, the partnership ecosystem becomes extremely critical. So we are partnering with almost all the large solution providers. I don't think we are building anything to become a hyperscaler. And I think we missed the bus many, many years ago. And we're not building models, but we're building solutions which will make the models
much more scalable and applicable within enterprises.
Thanks for that. I just wanted to turn to Mr. Christivasan because he's the biggest employer in India. He employs over 600,000 engineers. Uh, India produces millions of engineering graduates uh, a year, and many of them are trained for exactly the kind of work AI is now going to automate in a very big way. Uh, what should be our skilling strategy of this country? I mean, how do we do reskilling and skilling at a individual level, or should we do it at a national country level? I mean, what is the view of India's leading CEO on in terms of skilling and reskilling? This is, to my mind, a major national challenge.
It's a challenge and an opportunity. Because last, in fact, 3 days ago,
Yeah.
here we ran a workshop with about 1,500 kids from all the schools in the NCR region. Most of them are, so in fact, all of them have non-technical background, and many of them could not even speak or not fluent in English.
Yeah.
And we taught them how to use their native language, how to do coding, and in fact, within a span of about 3 hours, almost 1,500 apps were built. So that's the power of AI. Okay, you can worry about what is the entry, what AI is going to take away the jobs at the entry level. I think AI also enables all these people to develop and imagine new areas where software can make the lives of people better, and it creates more and more opportunity. You can be afraid and not do anything. I think we should be forward leaning and train as many people as possible. In fact, all three of us are working with the Ministry of IT in creating the curriculum for the students coming up in all these universities.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for that very positive and constructive perspective. Arundhati, just let me turn to you again and ask you if AI is to drive India's productivity, it cannot remain just a Fortune 500 story. How do we make AI tools accessible to millions of MSME? How do we raise productivity? How do we build for the market? Even if unit economics looks slightly different from enterprise contracts, how do we scale it up in a big way for MSME to make the difference to Indian economy?
So thank you for that question, because I personally believe that unless we can democratize any technology, it doesn't really serve the purpose of that country or for that people. And AI is something that is not meant for the white collar worker alone. In fact, it's one of the things that can actually empower the blue collar, just as you were talking, Mr. Kritivasan. It can actually empower the blue collar workers. Now, if you look at the blue collar workers, in fact, in NITI, we did one report taking into account the blue collar workers like carpenters, plumbers, hospitality workers, Anganwadi workers. So, a lot of these, personas we had taken, and what we realized is that they have a multiple challenges. One challenge, of course, is the way that they have been skilled. So they have a skilling challenge, but more than skilling challenge, they have an access challenge, in the sense that they may be very well skilled, but they don't know that a job exists within the village or in the next village. So they have an access challenge. The second thing that they have is the challenge of ensuring that they are getting paid on time. Even that is not available. Okay. So they have several challenges of this nature, that of skilling, that of access, that of payments, that of ensuring that they are parts of communities which actually enable them to be supported during times of distress or during times of need. So many of these are actually challenges that can be solved if we can use AI in the proper way, in a proper marketplace, to get the right kind of the right kind of opportunities to them, the right kind of certifications to them, the right kind of assessment of their skills to them. If all of this can be done, actually speaking, we will be doing the country an enormous favor. And you will find that the quality of life of not only these people, but the quality of the of life that that they serve, of the people they serve, people who are actually taking their services, even that is going to become much better. So I think, AI is not something that is meant only for the white collar workers or for people in tier one, tier two cities. It's meant for the SMEs, it's meant for the MSMEs. It is what is going to empower them to get into a league which they were not able to access earlier. It is also meant for the blue collared workers because it can empower all of them.
Salil, India has done something unique in digital public infrastructure. It's been transformational in terms of identity, payment, credit. Uh, the Bank of International Settlement said that India achieved in 7 years what it would have taken 50 years to achieve. How do we create a DPI, a digital public infrastructure for artificial intelligence? How do we take computing power to the common citizen? How do we skill? How do we make a difference using the power of AI? Uh, uh,
No, absolutely. I think there's already work going on. I- Specifically, there are three big areas where uh, there's thinking going on. There's actual projects on the ground in agriculture, in healthcare, in making sure that everything that is being done for education is helping within the country for the citizens. Also, in that area, there are examples where we have shown some of it, and now the way that, as you mentioned, the India stack or the digital public infrastructure was created, where essentially it was fully available without exorbitant costs or any cost, is what the approach is being driven today. There are various components of the architecture which are being discussed, and working closely with the ministry, with the government, those will be rolled out. Today, of course, you have seen that there's tremendous support at the chip layer, at the uh, data center layer, at the infra layer, and now there will be more at the architecture, how it can be distributed. And at least these three big areas, agriculture, education, healthcare, are being looked at today.
um, thanks. Thanks. CVK, one last question before I open it up to the floor. The hyperscalers, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, they're spending close to about 600 billion this year alone on AI infrastructure. Uh, Spending almost about uh, close to 50 to 55% on capex. And if AI services opportunity is really in the range of about 350 to 400 billion, can Indian IT companies, can all of you together capture it without adequate R&D? Does it not require greater level of R&D intensity? And what will it take all of you to put in more resources into R&D for the future?
Yes. Uh, First of all, this big capex spend also triggers a lot of services spend, like building all these data centers, AI factories, the entire infrastructure landscape, that's the IT infrastructure landscape in the world, would get refreshed over the next 5 to 8 years. That itself is a huge services opportunity. Then there is this physical AI. It's a completely new spend. Today, there is very, very little physical AI deployed in the world. It's believed that one of the studies by Zeno says it's $1 trillion opportunity. And that would mean at least $200 billion of services opportunity. So I think we are looking at some very big services opportunities. And even to really encash on these big services opportunities, the companies like us will need to invest in building solutions, because it's not straightforward services. You need to build solutions, and which will mean we will have to put in more money into R&D, right? Building solutions and building labs and kind of POCs. A lot of pre-work needs to be done, and also there is a lot of opportunities to create solutions which will really make the foundational models much more scalable for enterprise. So I personally believe we should increase the R&D spend, and I do think the industry model will support us, because as more and more AI is infused, more outcome based contracts would come, which also helps us to deliver a higher profitability. and which means we can very comfortably invest more in R&D. But the timing of that, we might need to invest a little ahead of the curve before the real benefits come.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful to hear this perspective. I'm going to open it up to this house. I'll open it up for 5 questions. Please name yourself. Just be very direct and blunt. Please don't ask long winding questions. To the point, very matter of fact. All young people, any ladies here will be given preference. The lady there. Yeah, the lady here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me opportunity.
No introduction, just name and shoot.
Manya Sharma, CEO of MonoAI. Saving my 2 years to reach out to you from here till here. First question, how can I come and meet you as a young entrepreneur, 27 years with no network? My first question. Saving my lot of marketing money. Second question is, as a young Indian, 27-year-old coming from a small town but being in Bangalore for 7 years, what is your view or idea that we can be work with you guys and your support and mentorship so that young India can go somewhere else, and we can also go to like show the Silicon Valley that 25-year 27-year standing here in a suit talking to you can do something great.
Okay. I've allowed her 2 questions because she's a lady, but no 2 questions. I will ask the 5 questions and then I'll open it up for responses. Second, there's a lady there. Go ahead.
My name is Devika Rao. I'm from my UK University of Leeds, trying to do the stage for AI, creative education, and art, health, and well-being concept, and how the case study can be presented in 6 month time. And I would like to co-create and collaborate with you.
Okay. Anyone at the back? Yeah, go ahead. No, please, there. Yeah, the blue shirt. Get up and ask.
My name is Navneet Kaul, and I have a 3-part question.
No, just ask one question. Don't ask
question.
3 in 1.
3 in 1.
No, don't ask 3 in 1. Ask one question.
One question.
Yeah.
How will AI create jobs? What kind of jobs and what kind of skills do we need?
You're asking the question which I've already asked.
I want the panelists to answer very specifically and directly.
All right. Anyone at the back that side? Yeah, that gentleman there.
Hello, Kishla here, and my question is: as any employee who is currently in the IT sector, what skills he should plan to develop in the next 5 years to boost his employability?
Okay. No, not front row, back. I want to go right at the back. Anybody right at the back? Some backbencher. Huh? Who's the backest? Yeah, that gentleman in the black suit. Yeah, go ahead. Ask. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, please.
Sir, my name is Harsvardhan. My question is, what can be done to stop misuse of AI? For example, some people use Grok to undress people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So one last question to that. Yeah, shoot in one line. Just shoot.
Yeah, namaste. Mama nama Venkata Narasimha iti. Intentionally, I'm speaking in Sanskrit.
One line.
Oh, yeah, I will come, sir. I'm a software architect. I'm a founder of a startup called Startup Sanatana. Though we are talking about so much of AI and AI is the limelight, unless and otherwise we built on AI on our culture, rich culture, tradition, heritage kind of thing.
Okay.
Probably it will be a misfit kind of thing.
Thank you.
How does
Okay.
it go
So
ahead
we've got the
further?
question. We got the question. Now I'll open it up. Starting from we start with Arundhati's response and then move on. You can respond to one of the questions and then we'll move on.
In respect of the question that this lady gave, and also others who are startups in this particular organization, Salesforce has a very vibrant startup community. The lady who leads it for us, her name is Rupa Arvindakshan, Her coordinates are available on our website. Please get in touch with her. She will get you in touch with our entire community. The community is supported to develop on Salesforce, and also, to ensure that you can take your product to market. So all of that is done. So please, you are more than welcome to communicate with us and get whatever support we can definitely give you.
Maybe I'll take up the question on what skills are needed in the future. I think there is a big misconception that software coding, programming skills are not going to be relevant. I think the fundamental conceptual skills in software development, programming is very, very essential if you really want to build a long-term career in the software industry. It could be in services or in product companies or AI. All of that requires sound programming skills. The second aspect is, I think, just the critical thinking, analytical skills. How do you really orchestrate work? A lot of standard work that many of you do, or initially the younger engineers do, some of that or a lot of it can be done with the AI tools that are there today. But how can you now think of yourself as an orchestrator and deliver maybe 4 or 5 times the output that you would deliver without these tools, right? I think just orchestrating the work with multiple coding agents, I think that's really a skill. While you may take 3-4 years to manage a small team, but on day one you have an opportunity to manage several agents to deliver an outcome which is 5x of what you would normally do. That's just an example, and that's how you need to think of every role. You can amplify the value that you can create using AI skills.
There was this question once again about will AI take away jobs or will AI? My view is it's been discussed for the last few days. Eventually, AI will create more jobs than destroy jobs, and you would find, but it may not all of them need not be programming jobs. There will be jobs of different categories, different classifications, but on the whole, we find it's going to create more jobs and create more employment.
Thanks. I think there was a question really focused on can we build AI with views of our culture or views of responsibility, and that's absolutely essential. Uh, we've also put together, and I know many others have, a framework on responsible AI, and there were a couple of questions which sort of were on that line. It's absolutely critical. So, in fact, the way the agents are built, the way the foundation models data is, the way they learn, all of that needs this approach of responsible AI. And that's the approach that we've recommended. Many others are working on it. And as a overall industry, we should focus on that. And that will give us as good an outcome as we can get. And even that, after that outcome, we will have to refine and modify. But responsible AI is critical in that.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard the captains of the industry. We are in the midst of disruption, as I said, but these leaders bring great optimism, they bring hope, and according to them, actually, the wave of AI will end up creating many more jobs for India, but they'll be jobs of a different kind, and we need to skill ourselves for the new emerging jobs of tomorrow. But with these leaders, I'm absolutely confident that India will ride this wave to greater progress and prosperity as it becomes a Viksit Bharat by 2047. It'll create many, many more jobs, and these leaders will drive India to a $30+ trillion economy with jobs in the coming years. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we extend our deepest gratitude to our distinguished panelists for their compelling discussion and dynamic exchange of ideas on India and AI. Your collective wisdom has truly elevated today's conversations, and your insights have set the stage for Action Beyond Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, We thank our panelists for enlightening us with all the views, and of course, a warm thanks to all our audience as well for raising very important questions, which I think concern each and every citizen as well. We thank our panelists once again. I request everyone to please be seated as we move forward, move on to invite the final speaker of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, I request all the photographers and everybody else to please stay away from the stage. Stay off the stage, please. Stay off the stage, please. We have one final speaker of the summit. Please maintain the decorum. I request everyone, please maintain the decorum. And all the media groups, please take your bites outside the hall. You're requested to please do as I say. A kind request, ladies and gentlemen. I request all the photographers and the media people to please move out.
Excuse me, thank you. Let's get it going.
Yes, of course. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege to invite our final speaker of the day, Lieutenant General Vipul Shinghal, who is the Deputy Chief of the Army Staff for Information Systems and Training. In an era where AI is transforming not only commerce and governance, but also the nature of conflicts and national security, his perspective is both rare and indispensable. From battlefield intelligence to logistics and training, the integration of AI into defense is one of the most consequential and most sensitive frontiers of this technology. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant General Vipul Shinghal.
Okay, thank you. Firstly, let me just say this that I know I'm the last speaker of a long day, so I'll do this quickly. I'll come to the essentials. Distinguished guests, leaders of industry and academia, AI innovators, my colleagues in uniform, who are also innovators, students, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you all. It's a privilege to be speaking here as a keynote address representing the Indian Army and the Indian Armed Forces. 35 years ago, when I joined the Army as a young lieutenant, in my first war game unfolded in a room dominated by large paper maps. Information arrived slowly, handwritten notes, verbal updates, reports from the field taken on telephone. We pieced that picture together, physically marked it on the map using color-coded pins and flags, and presented to the commander, who then took a decision deliberately and with reflection, fully aware that the adversary was operating within similar timelines. 20 years later, the rhythm began to change. Intelligence became sharper and faster. Operation rooms had a few screens displaying maps. Presentations moved to PowerPoint. The volume of information increased. Timelines got compressed, but there was still space to pause, breathe, and the OODA cycle could still breathe. Today, when I walk into an operation rooms, the difference is stark. It's like a Star Wars coming to life. A massive digital display dominates the wall. Input stream in continuously from multiple sensors. Intelligence is fused almost instantly, analyzed by AI, presenting a living, dynamic picture of the battle space. Some of the work we did as lieutenants is now automated. And the commander knows that the adversary is seeing much the same picture about us at much the same speed. The pressure is not anymore about awareness, it is about decision. Seconds matter, hesitation has consequences. It is in this environment of speed, uncertainty, and time compression that I want to transport you to an operational scenario. During a high tempo military operation, a senior commander was presented with a machine generated recommendation based on multiple sensor feeds and AI analysis to engage a target immediately. The system was confident. The probability score of the machine was high. The decision window was measured in seconds. But the commander paused. Not because he didn't trust the technology. His experience told him that something was amiss. He asked a simple question: what does the machine not know? The pause revealed something the algorithm could not see. A civilian evacuation had just begun minutes earlier, not yet reflected in the data. The machine saw the movement as that of enemy troops, whereas they were civilians. It is even possible that troops were mixed with the civilians. However, the commander exercised judgment and restraint. The strike was delayed, innocent lives were spared, and the mission was still achieved. This moment captures a fundamental truth. AI can inform, accelerate, and recommend decisions, but only humans can exercise judgment and bear responsibility for them. Yesterday, our Honorable Prime Minister and many other eminent speakers spoke of the need for guardrails and safety to be built into AI-enabled models. In the case of the military, these are not essential but mandatory, as the stakes are much higher. The Indian Armed Forces operate in a uniquely complex security environment. Across contested borders, multiple domains, dense populations, and high escalation intensity, sensitivity. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, let me clearly state that we in the defense forces are fully cognizant that artificial intelligence is fundamentally redefining the modern battle space. Its power in intelligence fusion, surveillance, decision support, maintenance, logistics, and a host of other functions is a force multiplier in today's multi-domain battle space. In keeping with the vision of technological transformation, the Chief of Army Staff has formally declared this year as the year of networking and data centricity, signaling a deliberate shift towards data-driven operations and AI-enabled capabilities. The evolution is powered by many indigenously built applications: Ekam AI as a service, Samadrishti, which is a battlefield situational awareness software, Shakti and Akashtir, which are sensor and shooter fusion. All of these have been built through our collaboration with industry, leaders, and startups, many of the innovators who have been around in this summit for the last few days. For this self-reliant transformation, we are open to collaboration with many startups, innovators to build it further. However, we are fully cognizant that this needs to be a responsible development of AI. Allow me to reflect on four points on this regard. Firstly, what decisions that AI must not be delegated to, must always remain human. Human control has to be institutionalized into law, and moral accountability cannot be with the machine. If a machine recommends a decision with 90% accuracy and the commander goes with it, and it is a wrong decision, it gives the commander a moral buffer. But is that correct? Secondly, AI-enabled systems are designed to cause harm. Therefore, they must be treated as a weapon and not as a software. They, therefore, must be evaluated and tested in contested field conditions. Remember that the battlefield is a chaotic data environment. Sensors get obscured by dust, smoke, deception, and many other things. A system that performs well in controlled condition but fails in a battlefield condition is not a force multiplier, it's a liability. Thirdly, trust and sovereignty must get built in the system. The commander taking a decision based on an AI-enabled system must know what is the data being used, how it is being trained. The black box of data must become a glass box. And fourthly, commanders and staff of today need to be trained about this fast evolving battlefield. As I told you about the operational scenario, as it was 30 years ago and it is today in a war game, we need to be able to integrate algorithms, be able to command systems, and know how to go forward. The Indian Army is taking steps in training our commanders and staff in this direction. The next thing that I'd like to say is that in sum, the nature of war may change, but our conscience must not. It is important to recognize that these concerns about AI safety and governance are not confined to the military domain alone. They are increasingly shaping national policy. The launch of the India AI Governance Guidelines and the Delhi Declaration during the summit is a path-breaking step in this direction. Just happened during this summit. This framework defines AI systems being generative and therefore having unintended consequences, and this has lessons for us as military planners. At this stage, I would also like to remind ourselves of a historical truth. I do believe in the wisdom of humanity. Whenever faced with a new crisis, we have responded. The rules governing the use of NBC weapons, the Geneva Convention on Treatment of Prisoners of War, the Convention on Use of Landmines, and other such frameworks have stood the test of time and with few exceptions have been followed during conflicts also. In a similar manner, a set of governance frameworks and legal provisions need to be evolved about use of AI-based systems and autonomous weapons. Already under the framework of the United Nations, discussions are underway around meaningful human control and accountability. His Excellency, the UN Secretary General, also talked about various such initiatives just yesterday. While consensus remains complex, the debate itself reflects a shared concern for autonomy without restraint that would undermine strategic stability. India, as a major military power, a growing AI hub, and a civilization deeply rooted in ethical restraint and understanding that Shakti, that is force, and Dharma, that is righteousness, must go hand in hand, has both the capacity and the credibility to lead this conversation. The clear and all-encompassing Manav vision for AI, enunciated by the Honorable Prime Minister in this hall yesterday, and emphasizing moral and ethical systems as well as accountability, is the lighthouse that can guide us all for AI to become inclusive, accessible, and responsible. Thank you and Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant General Vipul Shinghal, for that powerful address on AI in defense, the transformative role of AI in defense. We appreciate the words and the address of Lieutenant General Vipul Shinghal. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard all the speakers. Now it's my turn to say a few words to conclude this summit. And of course, with this last keynote speaker, we come to the end of India AI Impact Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, this summit was never about AI for its own sake. It was always about making sure that when we speak of artificial intelligence, we speak of human consequences. The conversations over these last 5 days have been bold, candid, and of course, at times uncomfortable too. That is exactly what it should be, because the easy consensus is never the useful one. India convened the summit with a single belief that the world does not need another conversation about artificial intelligence. It needs a commitment that works for everyone. And over these 5 days, that belief has been met with action, with partnerships, with pledges, and with a shared resolve that now it is in the hands of every person in this hall to carry it forward. The summit ends today. And with this, I, Mamta Chopra, would like to say to you all, thank you. Thank you so very much for being a part of this summit, online and offline, of course. The work begins now. And we are grateful for your presence, your conviction, and your partnership. Thank you, everyone. Let's start the action now. Thank you. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
From the industry, media, and dear students. A very warm welcome to India. Welcome to the first AI Summit in the Global South. And of course, the biggest AI Summit so far. We have participation from 118 countries. Thank you all for making this summit a grand success. Friends, AI is a foundational technology. It is already transforming how we work, learn, and make decisions. Our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji